since we came with the deputy president. I'm a spouse of the deputy president. And I have a responsibility and I'm accountable, because wherever he goes, you saw us when we stood there. He held the Bible, I held the Constitution, and he put the word there. As he was swearing, I was also incorporated there. I'm accountable, and I will serve the people of Kenya. A budget is good, and I love the way people of Kenya are working. We must work to make sure our economy thrives. We must stop wastage. And I know with God on our side, and you young people, especially you young people, making the right decision, I would like to see you grow into people of substance, women of substance, men who can be able to make the right decisions. And I have said, and I'm repeating again, there is no better time than now to make up your mind and move to the direction you ought to move, and make sure that one day you'll be speaking from where I'm speaking. You can clap for yourself. This engagement is timely as Kenya focuses on the implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda geared towards economic turnaround and inclusive growth through value chain approach. And I believe that we cannot achieve the vision of a great nation if our most productive demographic component, the youth, are left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on the crucial mission to combat the drugs and substance abuse in this region and our nation at large, I extend my deepest gratitude to Karatina University for their commitment to this course and for organizing the pivotal workshop under the theme, Youth Against Drugs and Substance Abuse. If we can say that, youth and substance abuse, leaving no one behind. We are not going to leave the men, we are not going to leave the girls, we are not going to leave the communities. You are the steering. You are the vehicle that is going to take your communities to the next dimension, where there will be sobriety and where you will lead them, and you will become the economic drivers. You will be productive so that our economy can become better than it is now. Every one of you. Well, I don't need 10. I need 1. I always tell people, we don't need 1 million people to turn the economy around. Why? I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. He was only one. And I can guarantee you, Father is there, and we have bishops here, and they have studied theology. Jesus did not even go 200 kilometers from his place. And today, billions have been influenced and impacted by this Jesus, because he was a person who was uplifting, he was restoring and dignifies the life of people. And therefore, everyone wanted to hear about this Jesus, and they were willing even to die for him. They were willing to take this gospel out. You, as young people, you must believe in your community. You must be loyal to your nation. You must be patriotic. And you must go out there and make sure your brothers and sisters are not abusing alcohol and substance. Let me tell you, you see that man seated there? He's called Boniface Dirango. That Boniface Dirango is housing 78 of people who have been doing injectable drugs at the coast, where the Dorcas Rigathi Foundation is paying for them. And he can tell you, when we took those people from the dens of Shimanzi, those people, you would not have wanted to see them. They had injected themselves, they had wounds, In the hands, they had wounds on the legs, and some of them were injecting themselves at the chest, waiting to die. Thank you. And for months, he has worked together with psychologists, with psychiatrists, with doctors, because we work with professionals. You'll find my office, and when we've been working, we get professionals from Ministry of Health. They have been attached to go and help there. They are the Council of Psychologists. They are volunteering and going to help so that your brothers who have been in dens can come out. You don't want to go there. Please, don't go there. I remember when they were in their withdrawal stage, because when you get into these drugs, it seems like a joke. You want to feel, you want to please your peers. You want your friends to show, to see that you have matured. But you take once, you take twice, you take thrice, you never know when you became an addict. And once you are addicted, many of you leave school, you drop, and your dream is gone. Your vision is not clear. You fail in your classes, while God has given you a chance and an opportunity in the beautiful schools that you are in and in the university. It is up to you to make the decision. Say you make the right decision. So these boys young men who have been there, and some of them are not young, some are married. I remember when Mr. Dirango, we brought some of them to you. The following day, they called me and said, Mom, you know, I have a wife. And I didn't know what to do, because we are doing rehabilitation, and I thought I was going for men. And now my boys have grown, and they have wives. And the wives are in the den. Study is an equalizer. I can tell you, as I went to school, that I'm standing here. It is because I went to school, I was a banker and was able to work. It is because I went to school, I'm a graduate. And many people, they hear just the wife of the deputy president, and they think I am a housewife. No, I'm not. Even though I play that role, and I'm very proud of it. I brought up my children. I have 2 young, fine men, Kevin and Keith, and I brought them up, loving God. I was a wife and a professional, and I'm proud to be a wife, and I'm proud to be a mother. And that is why I'm rising in this nation as a mother, to make sure I am taking care of you. And I'm going to speak to you until you hear me. I don't want you to die. I want you to live. I want you to achieve your dream, because your dream is very valid. Who knows that the dream you have is the one that is going to save your generation? If you die through drugs, then what is going to happen to your generation? Moses was only one, right? He delivered a whole community of people, 1 million people. He took them to the promised land. You are the one who is Moses, and you are the Jesuses of this day to come and deliver your brothers and your sisters and your communities. That is why your parents are putting so much money, so that you can be able to rise up, stand up, and restore the ruins that are there and dignify the lives of your brothers and sisters. Will you do that? We want, when you go out of here, with all what you are being taught, you go and become the ambassadors. You become ambassadors that will be able to speak to your brothers, to your sisters, to your mothers. I'm very sure some of you, even if your father doesn't drink or your mother, you know somebody who does. And this passion that I have, and people sometimes, people are interesting. When I say I have a dream and I have a passion, they have a problem with that. I have it because I have lost brothers, many. One of my brothers gave my mother hell. He used to drink. He will fight everybody. And finally, he died. And we buried him. And it was painful. Because he was our firstborn. We buried him. He left a wife and he left children. We have to take care of them. These drugs and alcohol abuse is a menace, and it is a tragedy for families. Because when people get drunk, they forget themselves. They make the wrong decisions. And as you have been seeing me going across the country, young men, you have died in numbers. In my programs, I deal with widows. I started that when I was in the university. And you are wondering why I'm jumping around like this. When I'm going to look after the widows, do you know what I find? You ask for 500 to come, 2,000 come. From walking distances. I have been in Nyeri, I have been in Migori, I have been in Laikipia, and every time we called 2,000, they come 10,000. What does that tell you? 10,000 men have died. And many of them, the widows now, the category of widows that I'm dealing with are young widows, 25 years. Is that a widow? 30 years, 40 years, with young children, left by men who have just been taken down by alcohol abuse, drugs, accidents, because when you become drunk and you are driving, you don't only kill yourself, you kill others. So one man who is carrying 30 in one matatu will kill those 30 because of making the wrong decision, drinking and driving when you are drunk. And you saw me in Nairobi. I was speaking to the Makangas, Kamageras, and conductors. And I was talking about drug abuse and how we should stop. I went to Kisii also. We talked with them, and we are working to see how we can rehabilitate them. And don't only think they are only the drivers who are drinking and driving. We also have you yourselves. When you have gone, you have worked, and God has given you a good job. The next thing, you have a good car, and you go entertaining yourself with drugs. Many, and I know many, our Vice Chancellor, out there on Carnival, that road has killed many of our young children. Drugs is a no-go zone. Say we are going to say no to drugs. Where else am I finding young people? In the boda wards with bones broken because they drank and they drove. The next ward you find them is HIV wards because they drank, they were not themselves, and they engage in sexual immorality, unprotected sex. And I'm not saying for you even that unprotected or protected is not to your zone. So don't think I'm trying to tell you that you go and do that. And they get themselves into that, and many of them are having HIV. From there, because their mind is not functioning properly, and most of them are in addiction and now sick. They defile girls, and they are behind bars. Thousands and thousands are there. Young men who are supposed to be productive for this nation. And do you know what they are doing there? They are just locked inside. Some with sentences of 40 years. If you are 20 plus 40, you come out when you are 60. You have no life. It's finished. Others 70. So you come out if you are 90, God willing. And when we are talking about alcohol and substance abuse, this is a very serious matter we are discussing. It's a crisis, and that is why I'm happy with the Karatina University for opening that crisis response center. That one I've been struggling to know. When somebody is having a crisis, somebody wants to talk to someone, how can they be able to get that counselor? How can they be able to get that friend? And I'm sure we should be putting that number so that anyone, even if you know it's a friend, instead of them killing and committing suicide, let them call that number and you'll be saved. So we are coming and informing you because knowledge is power. Say knowledge is power. When you have knowledge and you are well informed, sometimes you have always heard about drinking and fun. Many of you will be told drinking is fun. Let me tell you, those people who are getting drunk, those who are getting addiction, it is not a special kind. Nancy, you have seen them. We have policemen who are drunk, who we have rehabilitated. Even Father will tell you, even in a clergy space, we also have some who are getting addicted. So we have crisis in our hands. Those people who are poor, they are drinking. Those who are rich are drinking. Those who are religious are drinking. The white are drinking. The black are drinking. Every profession has its own problems. Even doctors are drinking. And I can tell you, we lost a brother who was a doctor in South Africa. You have heard my husband talking about it. A great surgeon. He died in South Africa. We buried him here. In fact, I had to go there, and I saw him struggling. Until he died, I watched him die. He was a doctor. He was in addiction. He died. He left young children. We are still taking care of them. So this topic we are discussing here, it is timely, and actually we have just come at the right time because the generation was about to be wiped out. It is you who can be able to change the course. Say, will you change the course?
Thank you very much. Hapa tuko na Honorable Dr. Babu Owino, a loving husband and a responsible father, your favorite son. Leo hii tuko ndani ya Wasource TV. Stay tuned. Tibim.